Publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the United States of America. Good morning to the entire world receiving our signals via the magic of El Internet, formerly known as the Outer Planet, created by whom? Created by we, the people. We, the people. Folks, you know, we've been concentrating the last few days heavily on Venezuela, heavily on the issues in Minnesota, the murder in Minnesota, and of course, as well, the Epstein files and healthcare. Man, let me just tell you before we get to the studio, we have to. We can walk and chew gum at the same time, but at the same time, we cannot forget healthcare and the dire straits many of our brothers and sisters are in. So, in as much as we're gonna for the next few days cover these issues in detail, remember always healthcare, healthcare, healthcare. Many of our brothers and sisters have heard from people already who have had to go without. I've heard from people who are I read of people who are getting married just because they need healthcare of their partners, etc. We have to make this front and center. Okay, without further ado, we go to the studio with the geniuses, El Señor Howard Reynolds and Jack Van Beba.
As always, Jack deserves top billing this morning.
Good morning, Egberto. How are you?
I am doing fine.
And it is Monday morning at the radio, the 12th of January, 2026, and Kamala Harris was right. Kamala said, all this man has to do and all this man has to offer is chaos. What have we seen since January 20th?
Chaos.
Chaos.
So, to you, Ms. Harris, you were right.
We need Maxwell Smart.
We need something. I'll tell you what, it's not in D.C. I can tell you what we need, but then again, Jack, what you got, man?
Well, I got the topics for Egberto's show today. The show opens with the stark reality, a freshly released video from Minneapolis ICE killer's own phone challenges the Department of Homeland Security's portrayal of the fatal ICE shooting that claimed the life of 37-year-old Renee Good, a poet, mother, and community member. As footage circulates that appears to contradict official narratives, mainstream media, including CNN's Jake Tapper, forced Homeland Security's leaders to confront inconsistencies by comparing the selective use of January 6th footage to federal defense of ICE violence. Meanwhile, in Kingwood, everyday voices are rising to protest, calling not just for answers but for systemic accountability. Today's discussion situates these events within broader pattern of federal overreach, racialized enforcement, and grassroots mobilization demanding dignity and justice. Justice.
Justice is the word. Justice is the word. Thank you for that, Jack. Thank you for that. You know, I want to start out this way. I want to say that, and in fact, I'm going to start with Kingwood, but since we have a first caller already, I'm going to take the call before I go into my 7-minute first video. Come on in, John from Minneapolis.
Yes, I'm sorry. You know, healthcare is like I've been a provider, you know, of healthcare for all my life. That's what I did for my career. I was a retired. Well, I'm a retired respiratory therapist now, and it is extremely important. But I just wanted to provide some context for the neighborhood in Minneapolis, where you know there's where they really doubled down on the ICE raids. But they're actually also in this neighborhood at probably one of the whitest public schools, elementary school. They've been at Roosevelt High School. Jesse Ventura was there. Roseville High School. And, I mean, this is kind of interesting, but for people, the demographics in the 5th District, of which I live in, Ilhan Omar is my congresswoman, is about 60% white. We really don't have that many undocumented people here. I take that back. There's about 22, they estimate 22,000. But they are instrumental in keeping the economy going. And the way that Minnesotans feel is like they just don't like our success. We've managed to pull off this progressivism for well over 100 years. Utney Reeder, the grandmother of Eric Utney on his mother's side, was her name is she wrote Brenda Eulin. She wrote a famous book called If You Would Want to Write, and that's going back to the beginning of the 20th century in terms of progressivism. People don't really understand, why people came here and how they came here. Most of the wealthy people that started all of these businesses like General Mills, Pillsbury, 3M, they came, they had a lot of money, but there were lots of very poor Norwegians, Danes, various Scandinavians, Finns, and mostly Germans, and then also Irish people, and it was a class struggle, and they'll never forget that. That's how, poor people, they're in tune with that from the get-go. And yes, there were 2 African American communities that were devastated by policy decisions like where they put the freeway, and one in North Minneapolis has been cut off. But we have a large Indian population, Dakota, who are also in North Minneapolis and then also in Powderhorn Park, and I'm very familiar with it. It's a very artsy place. That's where a lot of unusual, interesting people live, and they've created a lot of wealth just by their efforts. So I just wanted to provide some context with that.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, John, as far as the flavor of the community, and to show that it is a vibrant community and much more. And again, the fact that they are also a community that's protecting its immigrant is something to be commendable. So thank you for that word, my brother. You have a wonderful rest of your day. I want to
Can I just say one
real
more
quick,
thing?
real quick.
I just wanted to say I think they're annoyed with our success. I mean, they're attacking, mostly white people, the economy, and that is why the mayor made such strident comments like this is a bunch of,
right.
And then
okay.
also this is, y'all.
I'm limited for time for the amount of stuff that I have to do, my brother. Thank you, because I got a lot of videos today, about 3 of them. Thank you, sir. Have a good one, and thanks for that prose. Welcome aboard. Let's see, M. Hope, Joe Legaki, Vicky Tinder, Ann B, Christian Machado. Bobby K says, even if he's found guilty of murder, Trump will just pardon him. I agree. Jim Fulano, West Virginia. Welcome aboard. Greg Fevig, Mary Armstrong, Cheryl Elkins, our resident activist as well. How you doing, Cheryl from Massachusetts? She says, incredible response in Framingham from 2 p.m. standout. 100 cars per minute and honks were pretty much continuous. In past, we've had lukewarm reception to ICE messages. This is a definite change. Well, you all are making that change, Cheryl Elkins. Richard, Logan, and Lee Brown, welcome aboard. Sandra, Gina, Bob, and of course on our other chat, we've got Jacqueline Campisi, la profesora, love professors, love teachers. Isabella Garcia, welcome aboard. Harry Denson from Missouri City, Texas. Thank you for being here, guys. Look, I want to give homage to our great indivisible Kingwood. These women, and it's mostly women that run Indivisible Kingwood, have done an exemplary job in their activism, just like our good friend in Massachusetts, Cheryl Elkins' group, has been doing as well. They put on a hell of in 24 hours. In 24 hours, they put on an event here in Kingwood, got between 120 and 160 or even more people came coming and leaving. They did a great job, and I did some interviews here that I must play and let you see where people's heads at. Check this out. We'll take it on the other side. Yes, today I will give kudos to the mainstream media, specifically CNN's Jake Tapper. He did something.
We are in Kingwood, right next to Town Center. So I'm a Kingwood High School alum, class of '08. This is my community, and I want to make sure that folks here know that they are safe, that they don't have to be afraid, and that we can be here together in community.
This gathering was pretty much arranged almost overnight.
Yeah.
It is shocking the amount of people in one day.
In one night, basically, yeah.
In Kingwood, Texas.
I know it.
On an issue that many of them would like to let go under the rug.
And we can't do that. I think it's, for me, I value human life. I think it's really important that we don't minimize what happened here, that a woman lost her life at the hands of the state, and I think that that's completely inappropriate.
Today is a different kind of protest. Today is about Renee Good and about her being shot by the ICE agent in Minneapolis. I'm here because it is to a point where we have reached fascism, where if a white woman in the middle of the street can be shot and dead without any consequences, then we are too far gone.
At first, I thought it wasn't real. I saw it actually just on an Instagram reel, and I'm like, there's no way this is real. There's no way that people are being murdered in their own cars for doing nothing by basically Gestapo. And I looked more into it, and I watched the video. I watched it from several angles, and it just felt unreal and so scary. Because this is the type of stuff that we read about in history books that we think this will never happen in the US, but it's happening, and it's becoming more and more reality. It's honestly kind of disheartening, but I just keep trying to have hope that when my generation gets to the polls and starts advocating for stuff we believe in, stuff that we've learned, that we can turn it back around. Because history is always a cycle, so I believe that eventually it will turn back around, but I just hope that's sooner rather than later.
I'm out here today to ask people to consider using their own eyes instead of listening to the judgments of others that are obviously incorrect. The group known as ICE has crossed a very important line this past week. The world and our country has witnessed the brutal murder of a lovely young woman, a mother, a citizen, a U.S. citizen, and for no excuse, no good reason that we can see. Although our government tends to want to spin a different story, but there were observers there. She was an observer, and from many camera angles that were taken, I don't think that our government's interpretation of this is going to fly.
I am out here because I can't take any more of this thuggery of this ICE and the government that is lying to us. We need to have hearings now. We need to impeach the people that need to go. That obviously, if this is ICE's training to pull people out of cars, to shoot them, to antagonize them, then they need better training. So we need to do something about that. We need to do it now.
I'm really outraged to call a mom a domestic terrorist after this administration let go of 1,200 domestic terrorists that were tried in courts by our peers, by our laws. There's no concern for domestic terrorism on their part. There have been 30 people or more who have died in custody in ICE without due process. That's not American, and I want to be very clear about where I stand in history, but I remember very clearly the call of the police officers on January 6th screaming, "Hold the line," hold the line. So I'm here with my fellow Houstonians holding the line.
We're here to stand in solidarity with the people of Minneapolis and Portland and Chicago and Los Angeles and Memphis and New Orleans and Washington, D.C., with our fellow Americans, with our fellow humans.
Because of the murder of Renee Good and the fact that the government is always trying to whitewash it to make them look good, and they lie constantly.
I am sad. I am disgusted. It's incomprehensible that there is no value placed on a human's life and that a woman was brutally murdered, denied medical treatment by ICE because she was in the wrong place at the wrong time, trying to do what was right by people. And then, pig-headed ignorance, inhumane treatment, just despicable.
To do something, to just not sit by and let all this go by without commenting, without making some kind of statement. It's just a tragic situation. It's an unnecessary use of force.
An innocent woman was murdered. It's just how obscene, how it was unlawful. It was not right. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And ICE is going about it the whole wrong way. They need to put on their professional pants and learn how to do it, to do things properly.
I want anyone that has skin that is not like mine to see us out here and know that we support you, we care about you, we think this is horrible. It's completely inhumane, and I cannot believe this is happening in my lifetime. I thought, damn, they're going after blonde-haired, blue-eyed girls now. And at the same point, I'm proud to be from Minnesota. That's where I grew up. So for them to all be outside in this freezing cold weather and supporting her and trying to get rid of ICE, that's cool.
Because there was a murder that they won't be accounted for unless somebody stands up and does something about it. You have to just start at the edges and keep going. As long as there's people standing, saying something, it's not forgotten as easily.
I've seen some horrible things in my state, in my country. As a lesbian, I always try to represent my people well. I owned a large construction company for 30 years. I've been in Kingwood for 30 years, I'm now a barbecue person. And anywhere I go, I try to represent my people well. And my thought is, if they see that I'm okay, then they're going to say that person's okay, But the ultimate reality is that we are all the same. We're all human, and that's it. And what we have now is a Gestapo. It's a Gestapo. They're Nazis in what they're doing. I studied World War II, and I never thought I'd see it in my lifetime happen in my own country.
I'm here because I'm having dinner with my neighbors this week, and we disagree very strongly on a lot of things. But what we can agree on is building community and the rule of law, and that police officers should be, identifiable, not have a mask on, not be able to step in front of a vehicle and then murder someone. Yeah, there's so many reasons I'm out here. But I feel like in Kingwood it is a different impact. I want them to know that we're here and we're their neighbors.
I want to know that we're here. We're their neighbors. The last two really got to me when she when we started to talk, and she was gonna stop. The woman that says she's a lesbian, she was gonna stop. And I held her and I said, nope, this has to be aired, because that was coming from her heart when she understood that if that could happen to this woman, it can happen to anyone. When you heard Christina, I want to give a big call out to Megan, Christina, Cindy, and Vicky. Vicky and Cindy couldn't make it. They've been working so hard organizing here in Kingwood that both of them came down with the flu. But these women have been going every single week, many of them every day, to try to rectify what's happening here in this country. And I just wanted to name them here on air. I mean, sometimes a lot of them, as they're doing their work, sometimes you see in their eyes, am I making a difference? I don't know if you're listening right now, Cinda Hendrickson. I don't know if you're listening right now, Vicky Feedback. I don't know if you're listening right now, Christina. Don't know if you're listening right, Megan, and even some of our reps here at KPFT, who's out there all of the times. Teresa Allen, who's always out there with her signs and also recruiting for KPFT, I must add. Um, all of you all must be commended for this great work that you're continuously doing. That's what we need. Let's go to Johnny on line number 1, and then I need to go to another video. Come on in, brother Johnny.
Yeah, when you see the TikTok video of Jonathan Ross, the quote-unquote officer, leaving the vehicle of where the woman was dead, and he's on his way back to his vehicle, and he's motioning to people ahead of him to call 911 or whatever.
Yeah.
There was something missing. There was something missing there.
There was nothing in his eyes. I don't know, Johnny, but let me tell you what I saw. When I looked at that video, both of him calmly putting his revolver back into its holster and walking over there as if nothing happened. And when I saw him leaving that car, he just murdered a person. And people are going to get on me for saying murder. Look, I don't care what the law comes out there. What occurred was murder. And to see him walk like nothing, the sanctity of life. I mean, they want to say yes, PTSD for having been drugged before.
No.
I don't care if he had that, he shouldn't be out there. But still, no humanity. Continue, Janice. Sorry for interrupting you.
That's no problem. No, it is murder. And I know murder is a legal definition, but guess what? You don't have to be a law graduate to understand what murder is. Someone said, I can't describe pornography, but I know it when I see it. Mm-hmm. But that's not why I called. What's missing is, you know how the right-wing activists in the evangelical sphere, they would show up at these women's healthcare clinics, and they would often provide, they would often, part of their guilt trip and scare tactics for these women who were scared themselves, seeking help. They would show these photographs, color photographs of abortions, late-term abortions. That's what they would do. And we, on our side, at some point, we woke up and we started to understand the importance of photographs, pictures. So they speak 1,000 words. He had no check on him in real time as he was walking away from the scene of the crime. There was no left-wing activist showing pictures of kids crying at a coffin, something like that, something that's graphic, something that he could hear.
Johnny.
Motion picture of kids crying with their mother at a coffin. That's what he's missing.
Johnny.
He is criminal. He's competent. Like Donald Trump, they're both competent and they're both criminal. They're not post-traumatic. They are criminals and they have to be prosecuted.
Johnny, I can't tell you how smart an idea. I've been saying a lot of stuff about we need to learn effect, because if these guys can use lies to change people's minds, we can use truth, graphic truth, to change people's mind. I think you nailed it right there, Johnny, and thank you for that. Hey, Johnny, I need to get to another video.
I'll get out of the way. Have a good day.
Thank you, my brother. Very good thought. Thank you, brother. Very good concept right there, brother. Now, I want to, I'll say it says it all in the video, so let me go ahead and play it right. I'll tell you what, let me play the new ICE video first. They actually thought that releasing the new ICE video would have been good for this killer. But instead, check this out. As you remember, folks, we had the first video. The first video, it was evident to all of us. I'm talking about the video of the ICE agent murdering Renee Good. That's what I'm talking about. The first video, we didn't have the sound of Renee. We didn't have the sound of the killer or anything of that nature. We didn't. But it was evident just from seeing the video that was a murder. It was evident. That is something that should not have occurred. That was evident. Now, today, and after that video came out, we saw multiple videos from many other people that the New York Times went frame for frame by frame by frame to show that, one, at best, the agent was grazed. Number two, the wheels was turned away, meaning she was never making an attempt to hit the agent. And three, unlike what the Homeland Security woman said, he was not injured. He didn't have to go to the hospital or anything of that nature. In other words, the Trump administration simply lied. The Trump administration and all its ilk simply lied. Now, the vice president released or put on his thing, he went ahead and showed the actual image or video from the killer. While the killer was shooting this woman, he was in such fear that he kept the cell phone in position as he was killing. In other words, it wasn't a position where, oh, I'm in danger, drop the cell phone, draw my weapon, shoot. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. But the video is so misogynistic. I'm getting to it in a minute. The video is so misogynistic. The video also shows the kindness of these two women. Call them protesters, call them community organizers, call them as you will. It actually showed their humanity. And you know that we have degeneracy in the White House. When they believed that releasing this video actually showed that, oh, this guy actually shot in self-defense. I'm going to play that video for you as soon as I get it queued up here. I just got through processing it. Forgive me, but there's a lot happening. And again, like I said, I tried to squeeze in a little workout here. All right. I want you to check out this new video. This was just released today. But as you watch this video, I ask that you take into account what I just said. Let's get busy and check this out.
There is new video of the moment Renee Nicole Good was shot by an ICE agent in Minneapolis. It is video the agent himself, Jonathan Ross, appears to be recording on his cell phone as it happened. Vice President J.D. Vance just reposted it, claiming it proves Ross was acting in self-defense. We will let you watch it. We will also warn you that it is hard to watch.
I'm not mad at you. Show your face. I'm not mad at you. That's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Whoa! Good.
Many will likely disagree with Vance's conclusion there, as the moment of potential impact was not itself caught on camera, just a noise. They might also note what Good's demeanor was in the moments before the shooting, and also what the agent appeared to say in the aftermath of that shooting.
Now, what did she say? I am not, in her sweet voice, showing that the kind of protester that she are. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. I think the other woman may have been her wife saying, we are not like you guys. You don't have to try to arrest us or anything. Our plates are going to remain the same. The same plates that we have on the car today, we will have on the car tomorrow. That's who we are. We're good people. The woman says, I'm an American citizen. I'm an American citizen. And as she was going back into the car and the lady was turning away to drive off, right? And in the other angles, not in this particular one, the angles that the New York Times was able to do frame by frame, you see she turned to avoid hitting the officer, and the officer actually got into that space to shoot her, right? Now, remember, just before he shot her, she is saying, I am not mad at you. I am not mad at you. Man, I'm not mad at you. In other words, I understand. I get it. You're doing your job. I am doing my job. I am a protester. I am here to protect the immigrants that you guys are really doing harm to. But I'm not mad at you. You're just one of Trump's stooges. That's all you are. I would have said that. She didn't. She was sweet. I'm not mad at you. And as she turns, the thug, the thief, the killer, the murderer, then goes ahead and pop a shot in her. And as she continues to drive off, blows her head off. And what does he say? What does he say to culminate all of this? You effing B. You effing B. And now, here's the funniest part about it. The presidency and all his ilk, from the vice president and everybody else, they believe that by releasing this video, somehow it absolves the killer. But what it actually does is it shows the killer's disdain for humanity of others. She's saying, I am not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. And his response after he shoots her, you effing B. I mean, that the vice president, that JD Vance actually believe that puts that killer in good light. It is just outright amazing. It shows you how degenerate they are. That masculinity that they're trying to push, that sort of rugged masculinity, or whatever the hell you call it, that they're trying to push these days, that somehow that is going to go over well. Well, you know what? I am glad they released it, because I think it further proves that these cowards, exactly right, the duck, coward draft dodger killed her. A coward draft dodger killed her. It proved exactly that. It proves exactly that these guys are simply evil. It's amazing how often I have to use that word when referring to the Trump administration.
All of our country's problem.
Absolutely so, folks. So, I mean, that one hurts to the core. And to think that they believe. LVW, another professora, is in the chat. Thank you for being here, beautiful. Let me tell you, it is sad that they actually think that putting something that is misogynistic, something that shows disdain for females, etc., all of that, is somehow going to, I don't know. Somehow it's going to absolve him. Makes absolutely no sense. But folks, this is important, and this has to be kept up because of another reason. They have to know that they cannot go around killing at will, and that Americans are just going to take it because they're scared. And that's why I am so impressed with the work, in this fairly right town that's to the right that I'm in, that these people are standing up. That what Cheryl just mentioned, their folks are out there in Massachusetts are standing up. It is amazing. Ryan, how you doing, brother? Glenn says, Egberto, they are thinking like the average idiot in America who likes simple, non-nuanced conclusion. Once they see contact with car, they will knee-jerk to justified. They can't think critically, period. I got you. How are we as protesters supposed to protect ourselves, and when the Constitution is out the window and they don't care, they're murdering us? Let me tell you, first of all, most people, that's a very good point, PK the store. And I want to warn everybody about that. Look, anybody on any non-protest day, let's say we are living in a great America, nothing is happening. Everybody still run the risk at some point in their lives to be harmed by a killer, to be harmed by a thief, to be harmed by anything. So there are risks. There are risks for just existing. Okay? Why am I telling you that? They want you, because they want you to be fearful, not that they're going to attack you or kill you, They want you to be fearful of potentially being killed or attacked, not to protest, not to complain, so that they can just take control into their hands. That's not how it works. People's bodies have got to be out there. Will somebody get shot? Will somebody get run over? In the first video that I did yesterday, you will see that I'm talking to the residents here in Kingwood. And as I'm talking to them, I looked at one and I said, did you see what that guy in the pickup truck just attempted to do? He attempted to come very close to the curb. And since I was on the curb taping interviews, he tried to hit me. Because I know the excuse would have been I was close to the curb and his windowsill hit me. But I'm prepared for that kind of behavior. So I was ready. I saw the truck through my peripheral and I was ready to react. And so I did. And those are the things we have to be, our bodies have got to be out there, but we also have to be in groups, and we also have to be our brothers and sisters keepers, and we also have to be aware. If things look like they're out of control, then we move away from the out of controlness, but we have got to be there. Otherwise, they will win silently. So that is the answer to that, brother or sister. I don't know what your PK at the shore. Let's go to Moses, line 1, and then I have another video I need to sneak in.
Oh, good morning, my brother.
Good morning, my sis.
Okay, let me say again. That battle belongs to God. He does not fight like man. He leads the fight and will conduct the evildoer before the jury of the whole world, so that all men will see. When they put out that video and they thought it would absolve the little whippersnapper that they sent to do the evil deeds, they thought, oh, now we are showing that he was not guilty. And little did they know, the God that of judgment, he made them put the right video to show every single bit of the evidence of the guilt of that young man. And they heard him curse, and they heard all of it. And the jury of the world will make that decision, and God will convict. Be sure it will not go unpunished. Thank you.
Thank you, Moses. And Moses, I'm glad you made a very important mention. And that is, remember, we hadn't heard her voice because these other tapes, these other videos weren't close enough for that. But he was right there. And we've got to hear her said, I am not mad at you. And we got to hear him say, you effing B. That says it all. And they thought that didn't cross their minds because they're so used to that misogyny. It didn't cross their minds how offensive that would be to every human being or everybody of any morality. Anyway, last video coming up, but I need to play this one as well. We're changing subjects a bit, but not quite so much. Let's see if I can get to that now. As you remember, folks, we had the first video. The first video, it was evident to all of us. I'm talking about the video of yes, today I will give kudos to the mainstream media, specifically CNN's Jake Tapper. He did something that needs to be done over and over again. The evidence of the lawlessness of the Trump administration has always been there to see, not only behind the scenes, but overly available on video. First of all, January 6th gives a big database of wrongness, of evil by this administration. But over and again, we have videos of this administration doing illegal things all of the times or supporting folks doing illegal things all of the time. And somehow, when they bring the Trump administration on, they allow the Trump administration representatives to snub them. No wonder the American population is not enough negative towards the administration. Yeah, they only have a 30-something% support rating right now for the administration, but that is far too much. This administration should be approaching zero as far as support from the population, given the evil that it does. It should, in fact, the support for this should mimic exactly who these people represent, about 1% of the population. But again, when you have a media that hadn't done its job, that's what happens. But Jake Tapper had a flash of brilliance today. Check this out.
I don't actually even know what you're talking about when I ask questions as if like that's an assertion. It's a question. How can you make a conclusion before an investigation? And there really isn't an answer other than you saw the video. I want to ask a question about the rules of how law enforcement is allowed to engage when feeling threatened, per your assertions. Because I want to show some video to you right now and ask, what is the appropriate response for the police officers in this situation? Those are law enforcement officers being physically attacked. By this standard, would any of those officers be justified in shooting and killing the people causing them physical harm?
Every single situation is going to rely on the situation those officers are on. That they know that when people are putting hands on them, when they are using weapons against them, when they are physically harming them, that they have the authority to arrest those individuals.
The president pardoned every single one of those people.
And make sure that they're getting justice for their actions going forward.
President Trump pardoned every single one of those people.
And every single one of these investigations comes in the full context of the situation on the ground. And that's one thing that President Trump has been so focused on, is making sure that when we're out there, we don't pick and choose which situations are and which laws are enforced and which ones aren't. Every single one of them is being enforced under the Trump administration, and the clarity of the law stands. And if people don't like it, these members of Congress and elected officials should go change the law and make sure they have that debate and policy change.
I just showed you video of people attacking law enforcement officers. Undisputed proof, undisputed evidence. And I just said President Trump pardoned all of them. And you said that President Trump is enforcing all the laws equally. It's just not true. There's a different standard for law enforcement officials being attacked if they're being attacked by Trump supporters. We just saw that.
This individual and these instances and these investigations all have to be taken and done correctly in context of every situation that is happening on the ground. So what we are doing today as the Department of Homeland Security is out there with our law enforcement officers, making sure that we're targeting the worst of the worst and that we're talking factually about each situation and making sure that we're bringing those perpetuators of violence back to justice, bringing them to justice and making sure they face consequences for their crimes.
Now, imagine if every time one of Trump's officials come on TV and speak out of two sides of their mouth and try to say how something done by the left is so bad, generally not, of course, and then just give the image of January 6th and what it is. In this case, look at how hundreds of your supporters beat police officers, bear sprayed police officers, banged police officers with instruments and fire extinguishers, used poles and slapped them. And not one of them are in jail for that. Donald Trump pardoned every single one of them. And this young lady who was in Minneapolis saying, I am not mad at you. I am not mad at you. And all her whole job was to make aware to the population in Minneapolis, in that neighborhood, that the ICE thugs were on the round. Their ICE thugs were in their neighborhood. That was her goal, not to obstruct or not to do anything other than inform people, right? And for that, and turn in to move away, she is murdered by an ICE thug. But yet, it is okay. Again, the question is, if someone is beating cops for Donald Trump, it's okay. You even get a pardon. If someone is supporting their community, it is okay to murder them under the false statements that somehow they were putting the officer's life in danger. We have video for both of them. We have videos for both of them. We have videos for both of them, and it should be used all of the times, every single time on TV when the Trump officials come to lie. Rarely are they used effectively. Jake Tapper, great job. Now, I got one commentary after I wrote that blog that said, but he slipped up in that he should have asked if the official who shot that MAGA woman who was breaking down the door to get into the Congress, into the hall, if that was justifiable use of force, but he didn't do that. I think the way Jake did it here was more effective than actually bringing that up, because that starts another discussion, in my opinion. So I hear what the guy said, but I think Jake did a good job on this one. He's mainstream media. Got to give him kudos on this one. They need to do more of that. All right, we're going to have to go rapid fire on the lines. Bobby, come on in. Line number 1.
Hi, good morning. I wanted to kind of piggyback off of what Moses was saying, because on the larger view, I kind of see this as like, I believe in a God and, good and bad. And like the devil would love to see nothing more than us killing each other over politics. I mean, that would be great for, a negative entity. But my point is that like these ICE agents, they come into these neighborhoods and they act so tough and they bully people around. They're shooting innocent women. In my neighborhood, if a group of guys came in like that, almost every house has like a Draco or so like serious weapons in their house. Those ICE agents could be exterminated by those neighbors easily, and it's going to get to a point where they're going to fuck with people. I'm sorry, Egberto. They're going to mess with people so bad that so something bad is going to happen to them, and I think that is potentially what Trump wants is to maybe be able to declare a martial law or something. But
that's what he wants.
I think that God said that vengeance is His, and so it would be very hard for me if it was my wife shot in the face not to go out and cause some real damage. But I would pray that I have the strength to not do that. And for all of you out there that are upset, and I know we're all frustrated, and I'm sorry for cussing Alberto, but if you guys get a fine for that, email me.
We got no. We got. I think they red button that for you.
Okay. Well, okay. Thank you. But yeah, it's getting to a point where I think that these guys are not as tough as they see. The kids in my neighborhood can surround that vehicle and end all of them like in a heartbeat. And so,
Bobby, thank you. You got to go, Bobby.
Feel like Trump doesn't care about them.
He doesn't care about anybody. Thank you, Bobby. Let's go to Bruce. Bruce, come on in, my brother.
Hello.
Got you.
Hello, Alberto. Yeah. Kudos to Kingwood. I'm 71 years old, and I saw the video. I could easily have stepped out of the way, so there's no excuse for that. The people that push for the 10 Commandments in the schools are defending somebody who broke a commandment. But the main reason I called was to bring this subject up. States have stand your ground laws. How's a court going to treat it when someone's arguing in court that a guy with a mask on who wouldn't identify himself grabbed me? What was I supposed to do? I'm done. Bye.
That is such a good point. Thank you for that, Bruce. Let's go to David. Come in, brother David.
Oh, morning, Egberto. Yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, sir.
I'm glad that theme about the I'm not mad at you versus he cusses her out after he kills her. He's such a liar. And, I woke up thinking, I've been hearing these, they're showing off about how people are leaving the blue states and heading for the Texas, right? Well, if I remember right, Texas has got that snitch law so that women are basically trapped in Texas. Now, I remember where, this is about 20, 30 years ago, Australia had something like 5 to 1 men. There were very few women down there. and so I can't imagine women moving to Texas. So they're going to end up with a whole bunch of guys down there fighting over the last of the women who are trying to get out of there. So I it just doesn't even seem manly to me to move to Texas if you got a crook like Abbott and Paxton running the show.
Right.
So I find the data sketchy that people are moving to Texas.
Let me just say this, David. The data is true. There are a lot of people moving from states where there's high taxes to low taxes, but they generally move either because again they can't they've made their fortune in the blue states and then they come over and live like kings and queens in the red state, or they're used to the high cost of living in the blue states and they move to the red states. And again, it's an economic choice, but again, the burden has always been on the people in the red states who got that cheap taxes for lack of services, etc. Many of those people who come in that are poor realize that after the fact. Many of those who come in that are rich see that they can maximize their dollars. There's always context to things happening. We'll talk about, actually, that would be a good subject for us to talk about, because whereas the right would use the example of people moving from blue states to red state as a positive, I can actually show why it is actually a negative and also caused by the ignorance of many of us given our poor media. But we talk about that another day. David, I'm out of time and I got to go to Jimmy. Okay?
Take care.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Jimmy, come on in, brother.
The person of the shooter in Minneapolis of that young woman needs to be charged with murder. He was standing by the side of her car. He shot through the lower left-hand corner of her windshield and killed her. That's murder. He needs to be charged with murder and tried in a court. That will show the public that ICE is a very bad organization. The mayor of Minneapolis was right about this issue. ICE needs to be shut down. They're no good.
Thank you, Jimmy, and you're absolutely right. Thank you very much for that. Anything else, Jimmy, real quick? All right, great. Jimmy's gone. Let me just say, folks, wow, the management of the phone didn't go too bad. Thank you, Bruce, for being quick, and a couple others. Love you guys, man. You guys made it happen. Look, I don't want to call it a great weekend, but I had a weekend that I have to say gave me I don't believe in hope, I believe in resolve. Gave me resolve. And it showed me that people all over the country are actually waking up. And even as many are fearful, they're going past the fear to do the things that they need to do to get ahead. Let me tell you, Donald Trump is talking about dropping bombs again in Iran because of how the Iranian government is treating its people. All we have to do here in the United States is get a montage of what ICE is doing to human beings, both Americans and immigrants in the streets. A montage of those of what we have our paramilitary forces doing here. That's what they are. Masked paramilitary forces, what they are doing to our citizens and immigrants. And put that next to what you see being done in Iran. In Iran, we have mass riots with a lot of people in the street breaking things and throwing things. We have innocent people being run after, peaceful people being run after by paramilitary troops, etc. I want all of you to look at those videos in context and look at each of them. Which government is causing more harm to its people right now? You know, in as much as those people are fighting because of inflation in Iran, they have health care. We don't. Imagine if we were for the ills that are occurring in this country. Imagine if we reacted as others around the world react when they're being harmed. Imagine The Trump administration ought to thank their lucky stars that the folks over here have not reached to that stage where they react. Let's go ahead and pass it on to the studio.
Oh, nothing from me. Jack, you got anything? Nope. Jack says no, so go ahead and take it home.
Okay, well, let me tell you folks, like I said before, if you take a look at what's going on in America compared to what's going on elsewhere, be rest assured that it doesn't look good anywhere across the world from their vantage point. And many of us don't read foreign papers. I do. Many of us don't read how the rest of the world perceives us. I make sure it's my job to do that. And that shining star that we used to be is fading quickly. We have a president that's talking about invading not only bombing Mexico, bombing Cuba, bombing all the other places. I want you to understand what's happening in the world. China is around the world with its Belt and Roads program, building in other places and saying, we'll work with you on finances. Your politics is your own. We don't do that. We don't do that. Anyway, we're coming to the end of the program. Remember, you can find the entire program at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. You can email me directly at kpft@politicsdoneright.com. Love you all. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
You're listening to the American Democracy Minute, keeping your government by and for the people. January 6th, the Missouri Secretary of State disqualified 1/3 of the qualifying signatures for a ballot initiative repealing a gerrymandered mid-decade congressional map. January 9th, his lawyer admitted in court that the state's language for the ballot initiative was, quote, likely to create